Okay, Michelle?
Yes, one moment. I just want to make sure that, let me make sure we're live.
Alive? Okay, so welcome to the February 8th meeting of the Ad Hoc Special Real Estate Committee of the University of Rhode Island. Board of Trustees. This meeting is being held in person with committee members participating remotely. At this time, I will conduct a roll call. It's going to be very quick to determine if a quorum is present. Please respond present in WebEx. So we're getting Mike McNally.
Present, WebEx.
Mike Fascitelli, present in WebEx. Vahid is not present. Is Mark Palange?
Present, WebEx.
Thank you, Mark.
And Mike, I have to say thank you for the Bucks t-shirt. I wear it every night.
Thank you. Anyway, so a quorum required, we have a quorum, I believe, is present. If Margot Cook has not joined us yet, but hopefully she will. But a quorum is present, so I called the meeting to order. So Michelle, do you want to say anything? Anything else that you need to comment on?
So I'll just recognize the people who are here physically in the room in case you can't see them. I just wanted to make everybody aware. We have Vice President Abby Ryder, we have Carl Calvo, Ryan Carrillo, Dulcie, sorry, I'm not going to say it. And we have Lynn Owens, and we also have James Zong, our IT specialist. Thank you.
And I also appreciate you, Lynn, trying to help me out yesterday, but to no avail. Thank you.
Yep.
So then I think a reminder for all of us, for the benefit of our audience and the note taker, please clearly identify yourself when you comment, make a motion or second. Obviously, it's easy for Mike and I, but for the others in the room. Please keep your cameras on for those of you in the room and on things. So the first item on the agenda is item 1, approval of the minutes. So may I have a motion that the Ad Hoc Special Real Estate Committee approve the minutes of the November 30th, 22 committee meeting?
So moved, Mike McNally.
Any discussion? Seconds? There being no discussion, everyone in favor to say in favor.
Yes.
Favor.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion to approve the minutes is approved. The next item of the agenda is item 2, discussion item, which is really the meeting calendar. We've got the committee, so I don't know, water treatment, we have altered, and I have a few comments, but before we do it, Abby, are you going to take the lead on this next section?
Well, the real question on the meeting calendar is just does the committee want to establish a regular schedule of meetings, or do you want to assign meetings on various topics and then set a date for each meeting individually? It was more a question of just how you wanted to approach these meetings.
I think we want to have meetings, and I'll ask Mike for his judgment on this, before we have the board meeting so we can report in, or the finance committee meetings, because but if we need to have a special meeting like on the housing issue, we can. But I would try to set up the regularly scheduled meetings like we do. Mike, you're doing this for all the committees now, right? You're setting up all meetings, right, before the board meeting, doing those virtual, and then we report back. I think this committee should be the same thing, Mike. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. We may need to, depending on what happens in these meetings, we may want to set up special meetings, but yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, so Abby, I think what we do is, like, let's say our next board meeting, we'd have a meeting, either this meeting is before it, like it's next week, or we'd have for the next one, April, we'd have a meeting set up. And if we need another meeting, because you've got we talked about earlier, a deal, we'll convene this group and recommend. Where I think my view is we have to recommend to the finance committee and the board what we want to do. This is a kind of ad hoc committee without those powers. So I think we just have it scheduled and then go from there.
Okay, then we'll schedule a meeting before each finance and facilities committee meeting, with some amount of space so we can get it organized, and then special meetings as needed. Okay,
got it.
So that was the first item, and then Mike, the next discussion item was just that you wanted to talk, and you mentioned this in our last meeting, that you wanted to talk about what the work of the ad hoc special real estate committee should be. So I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, and I wanted to get Mike, yours and Mark's judgment on this. I talked to Abby, and Abby, as we all know, is leaving us. And I want to keep the momentum going and not have a big downtime, and also keep rolling. There seems to me, I don't know whether I read the master. I looked at the master plan that Abby. It's very dated, needs to be updated, but it's going to take some time to do that. Cost some money. There are certain obvious things I think that we need to be doing in parallel with that. Mike, we got to figure out how we handle this new master plan. It takes worthwhile, but putting that aside, we know we have issues with downtown right now. We have to figure out what our downtown presence and strategy is going to be. So I think we should, run that in parallel. We know we need housing, both graduate and undergraduate. So I think we should run that in parallel before we even submit a request an outside consultant. We know what that is. We can always get people to help us on that. So we know we have those two pressing needs to do. We know we need a place. We talked about whether that's the Emporium, Mike, or it's not. We need a place for students and families, and we probably need a small hotel, like I used to study at Yale, or some of these small hotels. So we kind of know those are things that are, we don't need a master plan to tell us that. And I like to keep going on those things now, and get the benefit of Abby's, final tenure with us to move those forward in a team. And I think we should do that. And then we should think about the longer range things that the committee's going to do, stepping back more strategic over a 5 or 10 year period. But those are kind of immediate needs that I think fit into that. So I don't know whether you and Mark agree with that, but that was what I thought the right approach should be. And I talked about it with Abby.
Yeah, I think you hit on all the big, the big long range thing is we do need an overall master plan, but that's going to take some time. In the interim, the 4 things you noted is we can't wait. I think it'd be the wrong thing to do to completely wait, and that is, what's going on downtown? What do we have to do there? How do we take care of this housing shortage on campus? And what do we do with the Emporium? What do we do? What do we need to do there short term? So I think you covered it all.
Yeah, and I think if I also, Mike said to Abby earlier, if for some reason we couldn't get the Emporium, let's say the cellar, we've got to figure out, is there an alternative place that we would put that place, an alternative location? So I think we should think about that. And then obviously the tactics in that Emporium, whether we use Gilbane and we do it ourselves, that's something Abby's coming back. We also have a student housing and a graduate housing proposal, which I think we can keep going. So my recommendation would be that we just keep plowing ahead on those 4 or 5 things, see where we can get them in the next few months. And we think, Mike, with another meeting about the longer range plans, what kind of master plan we want, interview maybe some people and maybe get a budget for that from them. So I kind of think we should do it in parallel, but I don't see a master plan coming to us for months and months and months. So I think we should get on with the other stuff.
Yep.
You agree with that, Mark? What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, Mike and Mike. Are we breaking into executive session?
Yes, but yes, we are going to.
I think if we're going to do that, I think we should do that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, but before we do that, I think we have a few. I think beside that, we're going to cover the water treatment plan update, Alton campus access license, which is enclosure 2D, and the lease agreement, and the agricultural thing. So do we want to go into executive session and do those, or what do you want to do, Abby?
No, those 3 items are open session, and they're just really brief updates to the committee, because we will be also taking the lease, for example, to finance and facilities. So we just wanted the special subcommittee to be aware of them. So the first one is just a very brief update on the water treatment plant and under the new legislation that was passed with regard to polyfluoride, whatever the AS stands for, PFAS is what they're known as. So Carl, would you like to
Sure, absolutely.
report in?
Can you all hear me okay? Yes? Yeah. Okay, great. So we've got several initiatives underway since the law was passed July 1st of 2022. We're looking at temporary filtration for the water system. And as you're probably aware, all of URI's water is supplied by 3 wellheads on the western side of campus it's near 30 Acre Pond. We're looking at temporary filtration for the entire campus as well as long-term filtration. We've got an RFI ready to hit the street here in a couple of weeks to seek interested companies for the long-term solution for building out the plant. We have a Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank application in draft, in review, and ready to be submitted to the bank for funds for the long-term water treatment plant. And then short-term, we're looking at renewing URI's, I guess I'll call it the water bottle contract. There's more, it's a beverage contract. That's due to be renewed this spring, and we're writing into those into that contract language, some PFAS language, so that the vendors that submit bids can meet requirements for PFAS. So we're hoping to have all those things in place, at least the drink contract in place before July 1st. The construction contracts are going to take a bit longer, but we're positioning ourselves to get those underway. So that's really, at a high level, the stuff that we have going on, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Yeah, can you save time by procuring a design build?
Yes, and actually, that's part of the RFI that's going to go out. We're going to be looking into that.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree, Mike, that design build is probably the way to go because it's a highly technical facility, and so the people who know how to design it likely know how to build it too. So yes, that's very much in our thinking.
That's
We
great.
expect interest.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, hearing that, so then W. Walton Jones Campus Access License. This will actually be presented to Finance and Facilities down the road if you agree, but we really just wanted your advice. We have, well, Ron, why don't you show it? I think it's the easiest way to do it. We'll show you a slide. Just for to open it up, we're talking about the Alton Jones campus. We have a utility easement, which is that big broad stripe running across the top of the drawing that is about 200 feet wide that goes from the major road, the Victory Highway, into the campus. And we have these neighbors, the Santillis, who thought because there was a stone wall that was actually in the easement that they were on their property when they built this small piece of driveway on our property, okay? And so what we're proposing to do, since at the moment we really don't have any use for that easement other than as a utility easement, would be to grant them a revocable license to pass and repass in that area of the utility easement. You can't acquire a prescriptive easement against public property. So there isn't the danger that you would have on a private property that they acquire rights in the property by virtue of using it. But we think it should, A, be documented, that we know it's there and that we're allowing them to use it. And second, that it's revocable. And they have indicated that they would be interested in pursuing that, but before we did that or entered into further conversations with them, we just really wanted to check with you all to see if there's any reason you think we shouldn't do that.
I just wouldn't want to limit our flexibility or anything we want to do there, obviously, because obviously what we're going to do with that campus is still up in the air, right? We talked about that last time. So I just, for that little thing, I wouldn't want the tail wagging the dog. While we're not needing it, it may be okay, but it's got to be clear that there's no fight over that and no perpetual easement, or they have to restore it back, whatever it is. But I wouldn't want it to limit us at all. If that was the case, I'd be against it.
Right. So the point is, this is a revocable upon notice by us, and they're only allowed to pass and repass. They're not allowed to build things on it. Correct? Yeah.
What are they doing? Are they live? Who are
they live there? Yeah. They live there.
It's single family. And they built the roadway back to what is an outbuilding for a garage and a kind of a barn. So their residence is in the front of the lot here, but
And you can see the stone wall on the drawing, so they thought that that was their property because there was a stone wall there.
Right.
Now,
I mean,
are
what
there
do you think?
any insurance concerns?
Yeah.
Yes.
They would indemnify us in the agreement, in the license.
I see.
I don't know, what is their indemnity worth?
Whatever amount of insurance they have.
Okay, so I just, it's not ideal because it seems like the downsides, but I mean, I don't want to be a bad neighbor, but if you think you want to do it, pursue it, but make sure we have no liability insurance wise or restrictions.
Yep, okay. All right, and
What-
then
You okay, Mike? What do you think,
Yeah,
Mike?
I'm okay with this. What I wonder, well, maybe save for executive session. I mean, if we need a overall strategy someday for Alton
Right.
Jones.
Right, that's on the list.
So yeah, so maybe that involves talking to neighbors about putting parcels together. I don't know.
we can discuss that when we're discussing our campuses. But I think in this case, because it's revocable, and because we don't have any use for the property at the moment, it seems to me that it's okay because, because they will have to move, they will have to build themselves another driveway when the time comes that we need it, if we ever do.
Yeah.
So to your point, we'll come back with the actual license, which you'll get to see and, evaluate as to whether, you think we are adequately protected by it or not. We just didn't
Okay.
want to start without running it by you.
I guess what I'm trying to say is the university is getting nothing out of this. Maybe a smart thing to do would be get a right of first refusal should they look to sell that parcel, or I don't know, but anyway.
Yeah, right. I think actually what we would do is do something along the lines of saying that we have the right, anytime they want to sell the property, to revoke the license right there.
Okay.
So that it doesn't become an inherited license, if you like.
Mhm.
Which we want to do whatever we want to do with the property, we can revoke at any time, only when they sell, so.
That's the idea. Yeah. Okay?
Yep.
I would pursue that, Abby, but let's see, they'll take that.
Yeah,
Let's
you'll
the
see.
actual thing.
You'll see the actual agreement, and obviously, general counsel will have looked at it too, and we'll be making sure that we're not hampered in any way in our use of the property. And
So
then
we're gonna,
the next item
think
is, oh, I'm sorry.
good.
Right, okay. The next item is a lease agreement between the University of Rhode Island Board of Trustees and the United States government through the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And Ryan, why don't you just walk through this quickly? And again, this is going to go to Finance and Facilities at their next meeting, so we wanted you to be aware of it.
So Ryan Carrillo, Director of Planning and Real Estate Development. Thank you. We are working with the USDA on an agreement. This is a lease we've worked out for lab space in CBLS, the Center for Biological Life Sciences, and also in Morrill Hall with temporary space in Woodward. They have a presence currently in CBLS with one researcher. We want to enlarge that to an additional 2,900 square feet in Morrill. Working with the USDA, this is in collaboration with our Innovation Campus agriculture farm that is in the bay for oyster propagation. So this would provide a synergy between the USDA scientists that includes a broad spectrum of shellfish physiology with our own world-class researchers in shellfish genomics and research, disease prevention. So I can answer questions. This is a 10-year lease with a optional renewal of 10 years. The space in Morrill Hall will be renovated to the USDA specifications and paid for entirely by the USDA, that renovation.
But that sounds good, Ryan. But we saw something in the last week where there was actually going to be a small new building. I think Peter Snyder showed it to us as part of that innovation hub. The state gave a little bit of money, and I thought there was a building involved.
Yeah, this is in concert with that. So that is not on university property. That is on private property. The Innovation Campus is bringing money as a match to the Innovation Campus money. The USDA is bringing $1 million worth of equipment that will go into that facility. So that is the hatchery that's on the bay. This then is lab space, more traditional wet lab space that's in a building that's used in conjunction with the research that would be happening in the hatchery. So the two are working together. What Vice President Snyder relayed was the off-campus collaboration that's happening with the Innovation Campus, and then this is the on-campus presence that this lease would give them access to the space in Morrill for the renovation.
Sounds great.
Yep.
Okay, so that will go to Finance and Facilities next week. And for this week, I've lost my weeks.
Tomorrow.
It's going to Finance and Facilities. Thank you. I apologize.
I think we can move it. I think we can move it to executive session now, right, Abby?
Yes.
So Michelle, can we move it to executive session now?
We can move into it.
May I have a motion that the ad hoc special real estate committee of the URI Board of Trustees convening to executive session pursuant to RIGL 4246585 for discussions or considerations related to the acquisition of lease of real property for public purposes or of the disposition of publicly held property where an advanced public information would be detrimental to the public interest, including student housing, URI campuses, and the Peckham Farm. RIGL 4246586, discussion related to or concerning a prospective business industry located in the state of Rhode Island where an open meeting would have detrimental effect on the interest of the public. And RIGL 4246587 for discussion of a matter related to the question of the investment of public funds where the premature disclosure would adversely affect the public interest. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? There being no discussion, can everyone, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, then the committee will now convene. Motion to approve, the committee will now convene in the executive session for the reasons specified. Anticipated that the session will last about 30 minutes, after which the committee will reconvene in open session. The live stream will be paused during executive session and resume once the executive session has ended and we reconvene. For those committees participating via web, please confirm by saying yes that no other person is present or able to hear discussion at the remote location.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Michelle.
Right. Join.
So we're going to break up session. So we're good, all of us.
We're, yes.
You're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm just
Oh.
checking.
I'm in the.
James, I know you're gonna.
Did you put me in? Okay. Is it have it be?
Yeah, they go into, I do the working.
Okay.
There's not in session. Yeah.
No, right, theory does. I have a magic wand.
Or just when you get beamed up, you know, how you rematerialize.
So,
Are we done, Michelle?
Yes.
we're now live, yes. So,
We're now live, so the ad hoc special real estate committee of URI is now convened in open session. First order of business is an open session, it's a motion to seal the executive session minutes. May I have a motion?
So moved, Mike McNally.
Is there a second? Me? Any discussion on the motion? No? Well, ask everyone in favor?
Yes.
Yes. The motion is approved. The next item on the, oh, by the way, I forgot one thing, come up with a specific date, but the next item on the item is to adjourn. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, any discussion? No? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the next meeting is gonna be tentatively scheduled April. Mike, I hope we can schedule it before the thing, and if Abby, if you need us in any one of these particular projects to call a meeting, just reach out when you get to that point. I wanna keep everything moving, but I think, Mike, if we schedule that meeting in April, we get closer, we can get everyone's calendars before the board meeting, that would be helpful, I think.
Great.
And thank you so much, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks,
right.
everyone.